Hey, welcome back to the Grit Culture. It's been a minute since I posted anything, man, but back like I never left, man. Let's get into it, man. Let's talk about this whole Kyrie Irving saga, man, and everything that's been going on. This whole buck breaking, trying to make an example out of him. This emasculation process, which was to be expected, because you can't have any criticism of the Jews or anything like that, or which is not the Jews. It's really Zionist. It's really Zionist behind the scenes. But it's like I say, you have leaders that push a particular type of agenda, then you have people that blindly follow it. And so it mars it mars the perception of whether this their religion, race, or whatever it may be, group. It happens. Shit, seen it with, I've called out black people for following a lot of the BS, man. You know what I'm saying? It's just, it's crazy, man. This whole situation is insane. But all of this started because of what he shared, and basically all it was just a link to the Hebrews the Negroes movie that's being shown on Amazon now, which is funny because they have all this problem with Kyrie, but they're still doing business with Amazon. They have the NBA has an active international deal with Amazon to broadcast international games, namely over there in Brazil. So what are you talking about? It's all about money. It's not about, it's not about any morals or anything to these folks, man. And this shit's wild. But not only that, you got guys like Joe Tsai, his program, his Alibaba program over there in China, where it was being used to hunt down the Muslims over there. Not to mention the NBA and their dealings with China, which has been talked about over and over again. They want to talk about spreading hate. They're openly hypocritical, man, and that's the crazy part about it, man. They're openly hypocritical. As far as this movie, man, it wasn't nothing. First of all, that anti-Semitic term has been used over and over again to deflect from any criticism, and maintain the level of power. Maintain the level of power without receiving any pushback or anything from the people. Now, people want to talk about, it's white supremacist talking points and stuff like that. Cut that crap out. Nothing to do with white supremacy or anything like that. It's because they take a talking point doesn't mean that there could be some truth to it. Hell, if anything, now you're saying that, hell, there's a possibility that if you want to criticize a group, well, all they would have to do now is create some, how the CIA, FBI, all of them work. They could create a group that espouses the same ideas. And so you mean to tell me all of a sudden that would render anything that you're saying or any point that you're saying obsolete because that group that pushes hate, which could be a whole psyop of a group, is supposed to render it obsolete. See, that's how they get you. That's how they get you on just a lot of things nowadays, man. And they trick you, man. Have you drinking the Kool-Aid. don't advocate for any hate or anything, any violence against a group, nothing like that. Don't advocate for any violence against the Jews, nothing like that. That's completely prohibited. Completely prohibited. And, you know what I'm saying, anybody that wants to do something like that, they need to be eliminated immediately, the person who wants to commit the violence. Because, despite, how the disagreements and everything, they're still entitled to however they may want to think. They have the freedom, they have the right to label something, whatever they want to label it, right? But like I said, but I also have the right to criticize them. I also have the right to have my perception of how they move. Also, it's illegal in some countries to even, to be a Holocaust denier and things like that. What does that say about the group that would allow something like that, that would allow a person to be criminalized because of their own personal thoughts? It doesn't matter if it's, wrong or right. They still have the right to believe that. It's their belief. They have the God-given right to believe that. So for them to be on board with something like that and not be fighting against people being criminalized for something like that, that looks bad on them. Once again, the ADL, like I said, there's all type of different Jews, and they all come different colors, all type of stuff, man. But the movie Hebrews the Negroes, that the criticism, things they were saying, the movie is extremely positive. It has a real positive vibe. It's good-hearted in nature. What they have a problem with, it was questioned and it was quoted an actual Jew who was actually murdered in a terrorist attack. Weird. I have to look more into that. But he himself questioned how many were actually killed within the Holocaust and stuff like that. All the name calling, nose running, but all of the name calling and saying it's anti-Semitic and stuff like that, it's simple. If somebody comes to me and says slavery didn't really happen, or it wasn't as bad as people says it was, first of all, before I even arrive at calling a person a particular name, whether it's racist or something like that, there's a lot of factors that you have to incorporate before you even arrive to that point. But to just say because of him taking that particular stance or giving out that particular information that he's automatically anti-Semitic. And look up the definition of Semitic when y'all keep using that term. But to keep, anti-Semitic and racist, stuff like that. Well, how do I know what his intentions are? How do I know where he got his information and why he's, why he's saying this? So it's up for if you're that invested in it, if it makes you that angry, you got two things you can do. You can either ignore it or you can challenge it. You can challenge it and debunk what he's saying. But everything else, trying to criminalize a person or trying to have them drop from every single thing, and keep in mind that shit could turn back on you. Especially when you're not in a position to have power. Now, the NBA has every right to respond how it wants to respond. With them being a private company or whatnot, need to stop taking all NFL, NBA though, y'all need to stop taking the citizens' money, taking the taxpayer money to build y'all little stadiums and stuff and fund y'all teams. Get it off your own backs though. You know what I'm saying? But people, they'll get away with it as long as people allow that shit. But they have every right to, if that's not how they want their league represented or anything like that, they have every right to take that action. But, this is his religious belief. And see, now y'all have opened up the door, and which I talked about then with all the BLM, with the BLM protest and everything like that. You open up the door for things like this. So now you're incorporating people's beliefs and for them to put it on a public platform, which all of that represents your product. And so you're going to have to be able to respect, as long as person's not openly, which Kyrie Irving was not preaching hate, you have to be able to respect what a person's saying. He's giving information. Not on top of that, y'all talking about, it's anti-Semitic to say that black people were the true Jews and stuff like that. Like, what type of crap is that? But you don't have any problem with black people saying that, it wasn't white people that did this, or white people didn't create this, or hell, they sit there all the time sitting up there talking about white people are racist. All white people are racist and stuff like that. You lump everybody into one big group. So they never had an issue with that. Even perfect example, go back to that Nick Cannon interview that got him in trouble. Where, what they focused on was what he said about the Jews, which wasn't nothing inflammatory. It was what he believes, that black people were the true Jews. But prior to that, he was talking about white people, couldn't wash, and, a whole bunch of different things, which, like I said, is still, you don't have to look at it as inflammatory. Said white people were living in caves, and don't have to look at it. You just challenge the information to see if it's true. See, what they want you to do, they want everybody to be offended and nothing to be challenged to anything. Just be offended and, cancel a person and cancel their words. That way they're able to mold history into any way that they see fit. So that's all this is. But yeah, man, the NBA's opened the door for all of this, and now they want to punish Kyrie for expressing how he feels and being able to be a voice. Y'all wanted them to be more than just NBA players. Y'all wanted them to make a difference on their community, and that's what Kyrie's trying to do, and now you're punishing him for doing this. Terrible, man. It's awful. Also in this movie, Hebrews, the Negroes, they, what am I trying to say? Oh yeah, they tried to say that it was propping up and celebrating Hitler, which was a lie. All it did was use, now one of the quotes that it used was a fake quote. The other one had a reference to it. I can't confirm if it was real or not, but it was still using these quotes to bring it back to black people being the Hebrews. And it was using historical figures, historical quotes, and not just Hitler's, but multiple people who were making that claim. What they failed to even acknowledge was right after the Hitler quotes, they quoted King Leopold II, who created mass genocide over there in the Congo. So why aren't the Congolese saying that the movie propped up King Leopold? It's silliness. You use whatever you can to link a certain, especially when you're talking about black people who've had their identity stolen, everything stolen from them, their history, everything. So people are trying to find their roots. You're going to use everything, which I advise that you do. Even if a person is a homicidal, genocidal maniac, you can still use their words as a reference. But this is what I've talked about over and over again, because somebody, does something, you can't quote nothing from them. And so that's stupid, man. But this is what the society has been breeding people to behave like and how to respond to things for just the past 10 years, especially since, Trump's been in office. So this whole thing, man, is just completely unjustified. It's ignorant. It looks bad on the people within the Jewish community who are co-signing this crap. And then they want to sit up there and have Kyrie do all these crazy demands, which, you see a lot of guys are now speaking out against it. Now, there's guys like Shannon Sharp, and now Stephen A. was one of the first ones I saw speak out against and talk about it's too harsh. But, you've had a lot of guys, Shannon Sharp and LeBron James, Johnny come lately ass. He now saying it's too harsh, after criticizing Kyrie and stuff like that. He's talking about it's too harsh, man. Kyrie shouldn't have been suspended to begin with. It shouldn't even have gotten to this point. It's cool. Some of them, like the guys like LeBron, I think they're trying to save face. A lot of these guys who are taking this, they've all taken the same stance all at the same time. Because initially they were all saying, it was terrible and he was preaching hate, even though none of them had even watched the movie, and they ignored all of the hypocrisy that's going on. But now they're all taking the same stance. And no, man. No. Y'all need to come all the way out. Y'all need to denounce everything that's going on. I can't tell y'all how to think, but the way that y'all been framing this entire thing is just been completely inaccurate. And like I said, but this is what I expected from the media. This is exactly what I expected from the media. They showing you who has the power. They showed you during the Kanye when he lost all his endorsements and stuff. Now, he said some crazy stuff, but, as far as I can say anti-Semitic things and not get dropped by Adidas, that was a bad look. But a lot of those guys weren't ready to drop him. That they had no choice but to, especially after Rahm Emanuel's brother came out and spoke and, basically told all the companies to drop the hammer on them. They show you where the power lies. You see what's going on with Kyrie. This Nike contract is gone and just all type of stuff. It's what's expected. It's showing you who and where the power lies. And so there's a whole lot much more to this, man. And we'll probably get into it, but man, this whole thing, man, is just wrong. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe. And we'll get more into this and more other things too, man. But it's the grit culture, and I'll holler at y'all later.